I will continue with the section of the Django interaction with DB. Yesterday we finished until this Python shell. Hopefully you can understand how to do with this Python shell. And now let's try to connect with the view. So here we want to connect the view, the URL, and the template. So let's figure out. Until now, you already built the framework coding. From the beginning, you start the project, you modify the setting, you did migrate, you create the super user, you start the app, you modify the settings, and then for the model coding, you put some code on your models, you do something on your admin, and then you make migrations, you migrate. Now we are going to apply this section. I would like to put something on the views.py, and then I would like to define the URL, and then I would like to define what kind of HTML or web files that I want to share to the people. For now, I would like to use a file views.py, and then let's make it in the folder FAQ, and you can put this code into the file views.py. So here, actually, you have already the views.py in the inside of the FAQ. You have the folder FAQ here, and then you have one file, views.py. In the file views.py, I would like to insert this code. I can delete this part. So I will have two kind of I have two functions. Okay. The first function is to show the list of questions. Here, I would like to get all objects from the questions. So this is what I explained on the SQL. I want to get all objects from the table questions, and I would like to show it into the web by referring to the variable questions, and I would like to use the template list underbar quest.html. If it is about choice, the choice will use the filter. Okay. I hope you still remember what is the difference between filter and get. I will use filter, and I would like to get the ID equals to the ID from this parameter. And I would like to put the information in this variable choice. Later on, I will put it into the web with this variable choices. And I will use this HTML file for the web viewer. So you can see, yeah, there is one parameter ID here. It is to indicate the choices related to the question ID. If the question is the ID 1, then all the answers will be related to the question number 1. If ID equals to 2, then all the answers that I want to check here are related to the ID number 2. If it is 3, then the answers here are related to the ID number 3. So this is the views.py. Next, I need to define the URLs. Inside of the folder FAQ, I need to give these two. I can copy and put into the urls.py. If you check this one, there is no urls.py. There is no link. Then you can make a new Python file and you can say this file name is urls and paste the code here. It means whenever you connect to this one, if it is blank, it will connect to the list questions. So what is list question? The list question is the function to show all the questions. And then what is list choice? The list choice is the function to get the answers. And there is one parameter. And what is this parameter? This parameter is based on the ID. This integer represent what is the question ID. Okay, so let's see. Later we will see the result. So the ID or integer will be the URL to indicate the choice of the questions. Now after you have the URLs, let's create the HTML file. For the first HTML is list_quest.html. In the folder template, you can create a new HTML file, list_quest.html. You can block all the codes, remove it with your new code. So this is the code that I took from the PowerPoint. This title is frequently asked questions. For I in questions. So if I get all the questions from the database, I would like to put it into the variable I, and the variable I will check the attribute name. In this case, I is an object and question text is the attribute. What is the question? And then I dot pub date. It is the publication date. I will explain this one later when we have the web. Okay. And then we have another HTML, which is list choice.html. Let's make list choice. So we need to create a new HTML file. The name is list choice.html. Again, you can block all the codes. You can remove, and then you can replace with the code that I gave in the PowerPoint. In this list choice, I have the head, but I do not put all details here, just the title, which is list of choices. And in the body part, I would like to look for all the choices that I took from the database. And I would like to show you the choice text. And then I would like to see this one, the link. Now, let's see. If I run this code, I would like to run this code. Yeah, if I run with FAQ, oops. Oh, okay. I think I need to define one more. Okay, sorry, I missed this part. We need to add the code into the urls py in the parent folder. So in the parent folder, I need to include this statement. And then don't forget later to ask the include. So where is the parent folder? Here is the parent folder. And you can modify this urls.py. So this urls.py is still having one line. So you can put here and you can include here. Okay, so you can include here and then you can include the faq.urls. Let me check. Okay, now you can see the result. We have the question, where is neighbor? And then we have another question, what's up? And we have another question, what is your favorite pet? And we have the time, April 5th, 7:12 a.m., April 5th, 8:07 a.m. And this is also April 5th on 8 a.m. Now, I want to know what is the answer. So you can have this check choice. If you click, then it goes to all the answers that you have in your database. Please find the URL. And then this is the URL. And then not much, this is another URL. And just hacking again. So this shows the URL. If you go back, then yeah, it shows the question again. If you check this one, it shows nothing because we don't have any answers for the question number 2. Here, if you go back again, if you check choice, now I want to see the question number 3. We don't have any answers for question number 3, then it is blank. So we just have the answers for question number 1. And when we click the link, it goes to the answers of question number 1. So this is the answer of question number 1. Okay. Now, what you can learn from here is, first, we need to understand the link. What does it mean by this link? Check choice. When you have the link without anything here, it means I'm just using the FAQ. I'm just using the FAQ dash, and then I will run the question. What is this one? Yeah, this is for all objects in the questions. I will print the question, and then I will print the publication date, and then I have a ref. What is this a ref? So this is about the link. You can see here URL. URL is link. And I would like to run list choice. What is list choice? List choice is the function that you just created on the views.py. So I would like to run this list choice. In order to run this choice, I just use the name here, list choice. So if you want to know more, okay, you can add, like, for example, XX, yeah, list choice XX here. Then what you need to modify is this one. In the list of question, you can see now I'm using list choice. So if I run this, yeah, it will be errors. Why errors? Because I do not have the list choice. I do not have the word list choice, but I have the word list choice XX. So the name here should be the same with the name in this head. If you put the list choice XX, then the URL that you put on the HTML file should be also the same, list choice XX. So I have the name same with the one that I wrote in the path. Now I would like to call the ID. I is the object, and then ID is the ID of the respective object. And then I put the check noise as the text. So whenever I show this one, it will go to the link, and this link is the list choice XX, which is the link connected to this function, list choice. It will go to this statement. So we have ID here. How can we represent this ID? The idea is here. We want to put I.id. It means the relevant questions will have the ID, and we put it into the line. Okay. For these choices, you just show the choice, and then we show the URL that we want to include. Okay, so if you call this one, then yeah, you will see the URL. In this case, we are using model. The model that we use here is the classes in the model with SQLite. And then views is with the relevant function to connect to HTML file via URL calls. And then T is the templates, which is the relevant to the HTML file. Okay, so you can review what you already learned until now. You already know how to configure the DB, how to define the model, how to install a model, data access, insert, and so on. Okay, so you learn many things in this chapter. In this section, I would like to teach you uh, the basic operations. We call it CRUD. But first, I would like to teach you how the system architecture works. And then I would like to teach you CRUD, C-R-U-D. It stands for create, read, user, update, and delete. And we will review the system architecture. Okay, you will learn those things. First, you will learn the system architecture, and then I will teach you how to register a user, how to make the list, and then how to update the user, how to delete the users. System architecture. What is system architecture? It starts with database. So the architecture means the conceptual model that defines the structure, behavior, and more views of the system. With this system architecture, it is a kind of diagram to show the relationship between different components. Usually, they are created for systems which include hardware and software, and these are represented in the diagram to show the interaction between them. So I can see the interaction between one component to another component. However, it can also be created for web application. Usually, yeah, we can show it in the hardware and software, but we can also use in the web application. In the web programming, we are using Django, so we need to apply the MVT concept, the model, view, template. M is from the model, view is from the view, and T is for the template. This is one example about the system architecture. We have the model. We have the model means this is the database. This is the data that you want to put. This is the data that you want to save. This is the repository. And whenever I want to do a kind of CRUD, create, read, update, delete, then I can define all the functions in the views.py. And whenever I want to run this code into the web browser, I will define the urls.py. It means if I want to delete, I will call this function and it will send the response to the browser. If I want to update, then the update will go to this function. So the update will go to this function and it will go to the member update in the urls.py. If I want to create a new user, then I can call the function create member. If I want to show the detail list, then I will just put all the list members into this detail list. And it will be in the web browser with 3 HTML files. 1, 2, 3. So this is the overall architecture that I will create. So when you are making your team project, you also need to build this kind of system architecture. You need to know what is the model. You need to show the ERD. And then you need to show what is the controller, or in this case, it is the controller. We want to control all those things from the data into the web browser. And we want to show it into the views. Okay, with this system architecture, we can create the project. I will stop here first. Let's continue after the break.